So this video is going to cover some of the things that are nice to have when you buy a new RV and you pull up for the first time in a campground to get it leveled, powered, and ready to go.
Welcome to Outdoors Made Simple. We post new videos every Tuesday. Please subscribe to help keep us making videos, or find us at outdoorsmadesimple.com.
In the last video, we covered the things you absolutely have to have in order to get your RV to your campground and set up with level and power and ready to camp. Today we're going to cover the things that you might want to have to get your new trailer set up at your campsite. You don't have to have these things, but they can be kind of helpful. I'm going to cover them in the same order that I did the last one. So driving, stability, power, water, and our favorite, sewer. Okay, so let's start with driving. In the last video, we covered the brake controller and the towing mirrors. The other things you want to think about for driving are weight distribution hitch and a backup camera. We have both of those. Almost everybody who has a trailer over 1,500 pounds or so is likely to have a weight distribution hitch, but not every trailer. So you want to check your trailer and see what the requirements are, as well as your car.
I put weight distribution on the nice to have but not essential list because there is so much variability in whether you use them or not. For us, they actually belong on the essential list. We have towed without them, but we don't do it over 50 miles per hour because we get quite a bit of sway. Some trailers don't let you use these. For example, the Rove Lite says it is not compatible with weight distribution bars. Some cars say don't use them. There are a lot of variables here. Suffice it to say, the larger your trailer, the more likely it is you'll need some kind of weight distribution setup and sway control. But each setup is unique, so you'll have to do your research to figure out what works for you.
The backup camera, again, totally not necessary. And in fact, we added this super late in our order after the trailer had already been delivered to the place we ordered it from, because we were kind of nervous about backing up, and while we could definitely back up without it, it is awfully nice to have. The next thing to cover is stability.
For many of you, there may be nothing else essential for stability. As you can see from where I am in this video, we store our camper in a storage lot. We also live on a busy street in a city and have to park our trailer in front of our house when we're getting ready to camp. Because of this, we have two security devices that you may or may not need to consider. The Alto is very light. We can move it by hand. And because of that, I have a minor paranoia that someone could come up and pull it down the street by hand before trying to move it with a vehicle. Therefore, we have a boot-style clamp on our wheel. We also have a hitch lock so that someone can't come and connect the trailer to a hitch and drive away with it. Hopefully these are an overkill, but better safe than sorry in our situation.
The third thing is power. So for that, you pretty much have your basics when you've got your power cable and your surge protector. The other things you might want to have, well, this you probably definitely want to have. This is a converter that converts your 30 amp, or you can get a 50 amp one, to 15. So if you're plugging your trailer in at home before you go, which we always do, you're going to need something like this unless you happen to have a 30 amp or 50 amp hookup at your house. Some people have those. We definitely do not. So this little converter is nice for that. The other thing we bought, which is super handy, is this little bag here. So we put our power cable in this, and that allows us to just easily move our bag around. One of my favorite purchases. I don't know if that's weird to say, but I really like it. That takes us to water. So again, with water, really your basics are the hose and the pressure regulator. The one thing I would add is the water filter. It's nice to have it. Just, again, you just connect it to your hose and leave it on there. At least that's what we do. And then your water gets filtered. Sometimes campground water is a little bit funky, so this just makes it a little bit nicer to drink your water. And then, like the electrical, we also have this handy bag for our hose, which is really nice because that way you just kind of toss it in. These also have sort of a waterproof bottom, so if your hose is wet, which it always is, it at least contains the wet a little bit. Last but not least, our favorite topic is the sewer, and I actually have 3 things that you might want to consider as potential necessary or close to items. So the 3 things that we would consider as very useful, one, this is an elbow. We've never used this one, that's why I'm touching it without gloves. This is an elbow connector that connects to your sewer hose and kind of just makes it easier for you to put the hose into the dump station. Sometimes you're kind of holding your hose and it's like slithering everywhere, and I'm always terrified that it's going to slither out and spew our black tank all over everything. So this gives you a little bit of stability. It's totally not necessary, but nice to have. Toilet paper. You probably want toilet paper if you're going to use your toilet. If you're going to flush it down the toilet, you want to buy some RV grade or septic safe toilet paper just because it will dissolve a little bit easier. We don't actually put our toilet paper down our toilet. That's probably a conversation for another day. But if you do, definitely make sure it's something that's going to be as easy as possible on your black tank. And then the last thing is some kind of treatment for your black tank. Again, everybody doesn't do this. We have been using this Happy Camper, which is an organic product that's a little bit more natural, a little bit easier on the environment. We've been really happy with it. We just take a spoonful of it, mix it with a gallon of water, and dump it down the toilet before we leave or when we get to the campground. And that way it sort of is in there as everything else fills up, and then we dump it when we dump our black tank. So
that covers the nice to have, somewhat essential elements that you might want to add to the absolutely must-have list. Happy camping! If you missed it, check out our other video on the 11 essentials you must have to set up your new trailer at a campground.